Hello everyone. In this video, we'll see how to create a storage account. For that, in the portal, just search for storage account. Then here you have to click on create. So if you see under this tab, you have to fill in all the details. Subscription, you can go with the required subscription. Then resource group. So if you want to use the existing resource group, you can use that, or else you can create a new one. In our case, I'm creating a new resource group. Just click on OK after creating. And then for the storage account name, here in the info, if you see, there is a condition. The storage account name can have 3 to 24 characters, and those should be only lowercase letters and numbers, and no special characters are allowed. That is the condition. So based on that condition, I'm specifying the name. And region, in our case, we are going with East US. And the next one is preferred storage type. If you see the storage types, here we have 4 different types of storages like Azure Blob Storage, Azure Data Lake Storage, Azure Blob Storage and Data Lake Storage. Like, we'll use that for storing the images, videos, or backups, logs, all these things. The only difference is that both differ in the case of storage capacity. The storage capacity of the Azure Data Lakes storage is much more than the blob storage. And Azure files will be generally used for lift and shift file servers. And coming to the other thing, like tables and queues, we'll be using queue storage for message processing, and we'll be using table storage for storing the key value data, no SQL kind of data. So this is about the different types of storage. In our case, we are going with Azure Blob Storage. Next, we have performance. Under performance, you see, we have 2 options, standard and premium. So if in most of the general purpose scenarios, we'll be generally going with standard. Suppose the scenario requires, the application is expecting a very low latency, then you can go with premium option. So in our case, we are going with standard. And coming to the redundancy, so here we have different types of redundancy storage things like LRS. LRS is where the storage is limited to one particular data center. The data will be constrained to only one data center. And the next one is GRS. In case of GRS, it is cross-region replication. And ZRS is like, data across zones. And if you go for the last one, GZRS, this is like zone and region protection. Both will be involved. These are the different types of redundancy storage. And then you can select LRS here. So in our case, we are going with LRS, and then just click on next. And here, if you see the other options, we can go with defaults, but we have a checkbox here. If you see, enable hierarchical namespace. So this checkbox, if you check, that means you're converting your blob storage to data lake storage. In that case, we have to check this. But in our case, we are proceeding with blob storage. So I'm not checking this checkbox. And then if you see the access tier under blob storage, we have 3 different access tiers here, hot, cool, and cold. Generally, hot access tier, like this particular tier is preferred when you have the data which is accessed very frequently. And suppose if you have data which is accessed infrequently, you can go with cool kind of access tier. And the last one, cold, means rarely if you are accessing some data, that data can be under cold access tier. So this is the difference basically. And for this, we'll create a separate video like how to set the policies. We have lifecycle management. So in that, we'll see clearly. So in this case, we are going with hot. Then click on next. And here we have two types of access, public network access and private endpoint. So for this time, like I'm going with public network access, enabling that. Suppose if I disable that, I have to create a private endpoint. So creating a private endpoint also will create a separate video because the video length increases here. So now we are going with enabling the public network access. So just click on next. Then here we have, data protection. For data protection, we have different options here. The first option, if you see, enable point in time restore for containers. The first option. If you check that option, it will, it has a definite constraint that you have to enable everything. That means enable soft delete for containers and versioning. Everything has to be enabled. Suppose you don't want to enable versioning plus soft delete both, then you can individually check the options. Now we'll see clearly what is soft delete and what is versioning. Here, if you see the second option, enable soft delete for blobs. So in a container, we have blobs. So for a particular blob, you want to enable or for the blobs, not for a particular blob. For the blobs, if you want to enable soft delete, then you can give the retention days. For example, by default, it is 7. Suppose I am giving it as 10. Then what happens is till 10 days by mistake or unintentionally you have deleted. So then you can restore that particular blob or blobs. That is the advantage of enabling soft delete and specifying the retention days. So by default, it will take 7. And enable soft delete for containers. Container level, if you want to enable that, then you can go for enable soft delete for containers. And enable soft delete for file shares. So file level, if you want to enable that, you can enable this. Enable soft delete for file shares. And the next one is below, if you see, enable versioning for blobs. Generally here what is versioning is for the first time when we upload the blob to the container, so it will be the default one. Next, after some modifications, if we try to upload the same blob again, then it will be created as version 1. Like that, it goes version 1, version 2. So such type of versioning is possible only when you enable the versioning for blobs. Suppose if you don't enable this, what happens is it will override the existing blob and you cannot find the different versions. Suppose if we want to see like initially what we have uploaded and later what changes we did and then what we did. So if we want that versioning, we should go for enabling this. Else what happens is for the existing blob itself will be overwritten for every upload. That is the difference. And here you have the last option, access control. Here access control and the first option, point in time restore is there, right? So these two, if you select this, you need not select that. If you select that, you need not select this. These two are almost similar options. So then click on next. And here for encryption, we have two types of keys. One is the Microsoft managed keys, which we need not worry. Default, it will be selected. Custom managed key. Suppose if we select the customer managed keys, it is our responsibility to create the encryption key, to rotate it or to revoke it. Whatever we want to do, everything will be dependent on the customer. So customer has to basically take care of the keys. And then click on next. So here you can specify the tags. As usual, it is a best practice to specify the tag for every resource creation. Then click on next. Now the validation is in progress. Once the validation is successful, it will allow us to create the resource. So you can check all the things, like whatever options you have specified, you can just go through all the things and then finally click on create. So deployment is in progress. So deployment succeeded. Now click on go to resource. And the storage account got successfully created. Under this storage account, if you want to create containers, just click on the data storage. Here you have containers option. Click on that. And here you can click on add container and give a name for the container. Then click on create. So the container got created. And here for under this container, like if you want to upload any particular, images, data, videos, whatever it is, you can just click on upload. So upload will allow you to store the required data under this container. Thank you.